if your Chiron is in Taurus, what does that mean for you? And what does it mean for the collective when we have Chiron in Taurus, which is currently happening right now? So hi, my name is Debbie, and I am founder of Green Star Healing, as well as on this particular journey, the Chiron journey, I'm exploring not only my own journey, but helping you to uncover your own Chiron wounding. So for those of you that are not familiar with what Chiron is, it's an asteroid, and it is found in your birth chart. So if you calculate your birth chart, the time you were born, all the planets in the sky, you can look at all the asteroids, the stars, and you can see which zodiac sign Chiron was in when you were born. And generally Chiron will stay in that sign for quite a few years, depending on the zodiac sign. Some are shorter and some are much longer. Pisces is, I think, one of the shortest. Aries and Taurus, which is what we're going through now, are some of the longest ones, longest periods, so around 7 or 8 years. And they also will represent sort of generational wounding, because Chiron is a wound. It's like a spiritual wound, and it can highlight things that we've perhaps brought into this lifetime. It might be from past lifetimes, and it's something that we're here to I guess do the inner work. I'm reluctant to say heal, because often we can never fully heal our Chiron wound, but we can do an awful lot of work around it, and then from that we can actually take the medicine. And so that's the power of your Chiron placement. If you really can connect with it and understand it, and then work with it and overcome it, you can reach then the medicine of that, and that can be really, really magical, particularly because Chiron returns around the age of 50. So it takes a long time for Chiron to come back to the same place in your chart when you were born. And so generally we get our Chiron return around the age of 50, which is, yeah, we're already going through a lot of things at that time, and then we get our Chiron return. So yeah, it's definitely something that I think we should all be aware of. And so Chiron in Taurus, if you are a Chiron in Taurus, you would have been born between these dates, so May 28th, 1976, up to October the 13th, 1976. Then there's a bit of a gap, because it goes back into Aries, and then it comes back into Taurus on March the 28th, 1977, and all the way through till June the 21st, 1983. So right now in 2026, it's generally going to be people around the ages of 43 to 49. Okay, and so we are all about to be going through our midlife. We're all about to reach that age of 50. And for me, I was actually born on October the 12th. So when I was born, the day after, it went into Aries, and it stayed in Aries for about 6 months. And so in my year at school, there would have been a mix of people. There would have been people with their Chiron in Taurus and also Chiron in Aries. So amongst my group of school friends, it's very much half and half. For anybody younger than me, and so for example, my brother is 2 years younger, in his year, everybody would have exactly the same Chiron in Taurus. Okay, so what this is also representing is a kind of a generational wound as well. And what usually occurs is that during our childhood, we will be activated by this. There will be things that will be happening throughout our childhood that will be there to activate certain parts of this, and they will keep reoccurring throughout our lifetime, and eventually we'll start to notice these themes that have been occurring throughout our lifetime. And it's up to us then to do that inner work. And the more that you can work on this, the more that you can, as I said before, you can start to overcome it. And then we can actually find medicine in this wounding. So, for those of you who have your Chiron in Taurus, and that's your particular sign, there are a number of different I will say wounds, because that's the way that often we refer to it. The general wounding, the things that get activated as we're growing up, will be generally things to do with our self-worth. That will be one of the main things, our self-worth and what we value, and also security and what makes us feel secure. So then let's break this down a little bit more. So one of the main things that will come up for people is how we value ourselves and not feeling valuable enough, not feeling worthy enough. And so growing up, you may, and even now, you may be constantly comparing yourself to other people, or you may be not recognizing your true gifts that you've brought through. I believe that we all bring through gifts with us from previous lifetimes, from our ancestors, from our heritage, from our bloodline, and sometimes we just don't recognize the talents that we have, the gifts that we have, and maybe then the part of the thing that we need to express ourselves in this lifetime. And so I'm just checking I am recording. I am. And so, so just really recognizing that our gifts and our talent and the fact that we are worthy. And often we feel that our worthiness or our value depends on our achievements. So we're constantly looking for external validation. We might be constantly looking for ways in which we can achieve certain things and show that achievement. And it might be difficult for us to receive praise for what we do. I know for me, this is one of my biggest things. And, just really receiving praise, receiving value in what we do. And this can also sometimes look like my worth must be earned. And so sometimes as well, if we have our own business, this also can look a little bit like undercharging as well for the services that we are providing. And so part of this connected to that is the financial element, because Taurus is very much connected to money, to abundance, to finances, okay, and really about our value, okay, what we kind of value in ourselves, our values, what is valuable to us in our life. And so whatever that looks like for you, but for some people obviously that can be connected to financial aspects of our life. And so we may find ourselves in constant ups and down cycles of feeling insecure around our finances or experiencing lack in our finances. It may be that we're constantly in fear of not having enough, or just being anxious around money and receiving money and holding money and being grateful for money, and also releasing money, because we need to learn to circulate money and be confident that it will come back to us. And so sometimes we might have a lot of guilt as well about wanting to be wealthy and wanting to have more money. And this sometimes can come from society, it can come from our lineage, it can come from our parents, our grandparents as well. So, but ultimately the wound here is usually around not so much money itself, but can I trust that life will support me? Can I trust that this will happen for me. There is an element of security as well, and Taurus generally is a very stable sign. So if you know somebody who is like a Taurus sun sign, for example, or ascendant, they're generally very practical, down to earth, grounded people. And so Chiron in Taurus touches on that stability, and it will bring up things to disrupt that stability for you. So for example, it could be in childhood, it might be experienced as financial instability, it might be frequently moving or having family insecurity, maybe unpredictable caregivers, or really just feeling unsupported. And then when we grow up, then this means that we can resist change or cling too tightly to security, or maybe we stay too long in unhealthy situations because we don't want to take too many risks. Another aspect of Chiron in Taurus will be about receiving, which I mentioned before. It's very much connected to our worthiness and valuing ourselves, as well as the financial insecurity maybe. And so many Chiron in Taurus people are excellent at giving, but receiving is sometimes a little bit harder. They may struggle to maybe accept compliments, to receive help, receive love, receive money, receive support. And it might just be that there's this subconscious belief or block that I need to earn everything. I have to earn everything. And so this could be something that shows up. Now, as I'm going through these, you may feel, oh, that's me. Oh, I see myself in that as well. And you may notice that you resonate with quite a lot of these. And that's actually quite normal, because even if you don't have your Chiron in Taurus, during periods of time when we get transits of Chiron in Taurus, like now, we can then, as a collective, it will bring up things around these themes of money and stability and security and worthiness and what we value in ourselves, what we truly value. So, but generally there'll be one main thing that will really stand out for you, and obviously it's going to show up in many, many different ways for everybody, okay? And there's layers of this as well. So another part of this could be connected to your worthiness, your self-worth, but it could be connected to your body, your physical body. This is tends to be more of an Aries trait, but it can sometimes come up in Taurus as well. Taurus and Aries stand next to each other in the zodiac signs, and there is a little bit of an overlap here. So just feeling insecure and a little bit maybe disconnected or uncomfortable, because generally Taurus is very much is very connected to their body. They feel, because it's ruled by the sign of Venus, she's the goddess of love and beauty, and so when we have a wounding here, it may show up as I don't feel comfortable in my skin, I don't feel beautiful, I am insecure about my weight or my body or how I look, or just feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. And so just being too focused on your own appearance as well. And overall, because Taurus loves stability, then Chiron in Taurus may also show up as having sort of like a resistance to change, and really just having almost like a fear of uncertainty, or wanting to stay in your comfort zone, or might be difficulty letting go. And so whatever it looks like for you, there'll be something along in amongst all of these themes that I just talked about. There'll be something that really resonates for you, and it'll be something that when you take time, and it does take time. The Chiron wounding is not something that we just automatically realize exactly our wounding, the exact point, and we just can fix it. It generally is a lot more complex than that, and it takes a lot of time to uncover and sit with it. And so there'll be something that's a recurring theme throughout your lifetime. So whether that is to do with worthiness, whether that is to do with security, there'll be things that have happened to you as you were growing up that made you feel not worthy enough, not valuable enough. There'll be things that have happened to you in your childhood that made you question that you're not valuable. Okay, that your value does depend on external validation or external achievement. And if it's to do with your safety and security, then it may be that you grew up in a household where you found it very, very unstable. Might have been a lot of moving around, it might have been unpredictable caregivers, and this then continued. So it's not just in your childhood, then it will keep being activated throughout your life. Often it will be activated when Chiron is, obviously Chiron's not going to come back to the exact same place, as I said before, for around 50 years, but it's still going to, as it moves around, it's going to be in a certain angle to your original Chiron placement. And so these points, as you move through different ages, will also mean that there may be more struggles that come through for you. And ultimately what this is for is to teach us something. We came here to learn a particular lesson. We came here to grow and evolve. We came here to find out more about ourselves, and so that we can become a better person. We can become a more improved version of ourselves. We can grow. We can gain wisdom around this. We can help other people. And so if you do feel that as you look back, you can definitely see, yeah, I can see that I have, for example, for me, it might be overworking to prove my worth. It might be staying in relationships too long, not recognizing my own worthiness, staying in the wrong relationship, for too long. And maybe it might be around difficulty receiving support or compliments, or charging enough money for my worth. All of these things are things that we can then acknowledge and work on this and do the inner work. And the gift of Chiron in Taurus is that when we have worked on these things, when we've integrated these aspects of ourselves, it actually can become extremely powerful. Because remember that anything that has been activated is also there to be acknowledged and integrated in a positive way. So imagine then if you do the work around self-worth, okay, and suddenly then you emerge feeling your true worth and not questioning your worth anymore, and recognizing that you are worthy, you are perfectly worthy exactly as you are. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. Okay, money will come to you. You can receive. You can receive support and help and money and flow and abundance, whatever abundance looks like for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be money. So it can be money, it can be love. And in doing the work, we can embody this. We can be open more to receiving. We can welcome in more abundance to our lives. We can create more sustainable wealth in our lives. We can develop more self-love for ourselves. We can learn to love ourselves, and we can just trust. We can trust in life supporting us. And so when we evolve through this Chiron journey, the Taurian wisdom that will come through is that my worth maybe is my worth is inherent. My worth is, I don't need to prove or earn my value anymore. I am safe. I am supported. I am enough, just exactly the way I am. I am enough. And when we can reach this point of feeling this way and really, really feeling it, then we are in a position where we can then open ourselves up to helping other people on that journey, helping other people to recognize their worth, to recognize that abundance is something that they can and definitely will bring into them. And so the way that we do this is, obviously there is a lot of inner work in this, and it's not something that we just do overnight. For me, it took a long time. The first time when I first read about Chiron and Taurus wounding, it didn't resonate with me initially. Maybe I wasn't ready to hear it. And over time I've realized, wow, it actually is just extremely spot on. And these are all the things that I've really had to be forced to work on. And now, as Chiron is moving through Taurus, so for the next 3 months, what are we now, 18th of July, August, actually we've only got, it's been a month already, so there's probably only about 2 more months left. And then in September, I think it's going to be, mid-September. In mid-September, Chiron will actually go retrograde, which means it's going to go back into the sign of Aries for about 6 more months, and then it's going to come back into Taurus next year, April 2027, and it's going to stay there then until 2033. So we're going to have 5 years of this Chiron in our Taurus. Now, what's interesting about Chiron in Taurus is that it can also, because it's around the time of, for women, menopause, and even for men, it can activate certain things in our bodies. So it's so important for us to, I think, really to be connected to do this inner work and to acknowledge things that need to be healed in us, that need to be released, and anything that we're holding on to that just isn't needed anymore. It's just old stories that we need to let go of. Because if we hold on too much to shame or guilt or regret or anger or whatever it is, this can manifest in the body. And definitely around this time of your Chiron return, around the age of 50, if you ignore the symptoms, if you ignore the signs, it can manifest in your body. So yeah, it's very, very, how do I say, it's, I guess, a time for us to really, it pushes us to really go within, because a lot of people around the age of 50, we are questioning our midlife, we're questioning our purpose, whether you have children, whether you don't, whether you have just started your career, whether your career is changing, you are no longer finding the same fulfillment from the same things. If you have children, they may be leaving you. So everything is shifting around this time, and particularly when we're going through menopause, we're experiencing a lot of changes. And there is a correlation between people doing inner work on themselves, releasing old stories, and actually finding it an easier time when they're going then through their Chiron return. So I encourage everybody to look at your charts to see where you have Chiron. And of course, there is more to the Chiron story than just Taurus. So when we analyze your Chiron placement, we also look at it as where it sits in your chart. And your chart is made up of 12 different houses, and these are otherwise known as life areas. So from the time when you were born, your Chiron then is placed in a particular part of the chart. This represents a life area, and generally this is the place where it's going to show up for you. We can also analyze a chart to see exactly the age around that age point when it got activated first for you. And we can also see what other things are potentially going to influence your Chiron and your Chiron return, as well as we can get clues from our chart as to the medicine in this wounding. What is it that we are going to extract from all of this inner work and this knowledge, and then come out of the other side with this purpose? How can we use this? It doesn't mean that everyone's going to become a healer. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to become a teacher. But it does mean that everyone has capacity to offer that wisdom to other people that need it. And it might just be through your own friendship group. It might just be through your own mini podcast. It might just be at your local pub. It might just be in the supermarket queue. You know, like, we really don't know who we are meant to help with these types of things. Sometimes it just comes through for us. Other times we can get very, very clear downloads as to what it is that we now know we need to do with this information. We sort of get a much clearer idea, and that's what I have done on my Chiron journey, and that's what I love to teach other people, how to do that, and how to basically then take all of these things, because all these things, they're all beliefs, they're all limited beliefs, they're not useful anymore. Things like I'm not worthy to receive, or, you know, I'm not worthy to receive abundance, I'm not worthy to receive love, I'm not worthy of having stability or security, or everything is always going to be taken away from me, everything is always going to be lost, everything is always going to be in lack, everything is always going to need me to validate it, I always have to, etc., etc. All of these things, they're all old stories, they're all old beliefs, and we don't need to keep taking them with us anymore. There are ways that we can reframe this, and this is what I do. This is what I do in my business, Green Star Healing. I have a number of different avenues that I do this through, but basically we use belief rewiring. So I help people to rewire their belief. And you can definitely 100% feel worthy, feel abundant, feel loved, receive, be open to receiving. All of these things you're able to reprogram these, because often these are outdated programs. They're ruling and running your subconscious mind without you even knowing. And that's the powerful thing about doing belief work. Often we don't even realize that it's running the show. Sometimes we just take a moment and we sit and we think back on all of the stories and the repeating patterns, and then we realize, yeah, actually there's something hidden there. There's a hidden belief that's been running my show my entire life. And whether it's come from a past life, whether it's come from society, whether it's come from a family or our friends or our schooling or our community, it's come from different places, and then it gets reinforced every time we have these situations that occur again and again and again, and they just reinforce the same story that isn't actually true, because you are worthy and you are abundant, and life is abundant, and this is what we all of us can achieve this, and we can all evolve into bringing all of this into us. Okay, so this is exactly what I do. And so if you're interested in going deeper on this journey, on the Chiron journey, then just reach out. I'll put all the information in the underneath this video, and you can also find information as well on my website, and you can also reach out to me via email as well, so info@greenstarhealing.com. And I'm excited to soon be offering a new 12-week program which will follow Chiron. I will be starting the first 12-week session that I will run will be for Aries, because we're about to flip back into Aries for the last 5 months of its journey. And then those people that have Chiron in Aries, which I'll cover in a different video, they will not get a Chiron return until they're 100. And so my 12-week Chiron in Taurus program will probably be in the new year of 2027, so we'll get that started at the beginning of that year. So if you'd like to be on a wait list for that, just reach out, send me an email, and I will let you know as soon as I have more details on that. So I'm wishing you all a lovely rest of the day, week, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for listening. And if you resonated with what was in this video, just comment below. You can comment Chiron and Taurus. You can share a little bit about what stood out for you most, what resonated with you most. And I then I panicked then, because I looked and I thought, oh my goodness, I haven't recorded, but I have. Oh, phew. And yeah, I hope to see you in another video soon. Bye for now.